time, every time, yeah. It's been a long ride. Our time come, check how we are doing. Keep your eyes open, chatting in the streets. Beware, our time come, check how we are doing. Keep your eyes open, chatting in the streets.
Greetings and welcome to Jesse I Interviews. As always, coming to you from the lands of the Bunurong, Boonwurrung and Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people of the Kulin Nation, Aboriginal lands now known as the City of Melbourne in Australia. For this episode, we're going to the lush uptown abode and studio of the great producer Don Corleon in the Cherry Garden suburb of Kingston. Born Donovan Bennett back in 1978, Don is a producer who had a huge impact on reggae and dancehall in the 2000s, but has been a lot quieter in recent years. I recorded this one in July 2012 with my wife Mina. We had the pleasure of hanging out at the studio for the better part of an afternoon and watching Don work with the bass player Danny Basie. I also interviewed Protégé there, which you can hear back in episode 5. As a bit of an aside, when putting together the notes for this episode, I looked up Don Corleon's Wikipedia page. Not only is it surprisingly short for somebody as accomplished as he is, it was also pretty funny. At the time of me making this podcast, it reads, Don Corleon, born Donovan Bennett in 1978, is a Jamaican record producer, songwriter and mixer. He has worked with artists and fictional characters including Cranky Kong, Congo Crew, Migos, Sean Paul, Sizzler, Rihanna, Donkey Kong, Bluster Kong, Bounty Killer, Vibes Cartel, Shaggy, Caramund, Rarity, Squidward Tentacles, Nicki Minaj, Pressure Gentleman, Protégé, Pitbull and others. Don, if by any chance you ever hear this, you might want to clean that page up a bit. Or not, you can leave it like that, it's pretty funny. Anyway, as always, I'm presenting this interview completely unedited from the time I hit start on the recorder to the time I hit stop. He does say off the record at one point, but we're only talking about country dancers versus city dancers at that point. I think it's quite an interesting discussion, so I've left it in. Hopefully he doesn't mind. So here we go, Jesse I Interviews Don Corleon, July 2012. Cool. Yeah, just tell me when you're ready, Mina.
Yeah, I just got to find somewhere to rest my elbows.
Yeah, we got to buy a tripod.
We've got one.
The camera's kind of an afterthought.
Okay.
Alright. So right now I'm in Cherry Gardens in Kingston, Jamaica, in the studio of the great producer Don Corleon. Thank you for joining me here on Babylon Burning.
Pleasure to be here, man.
First thing I have to ask about the pronunciation, because I never really know if it's Don Corleon or Don Corleone, as they would say in Italy.
They say it all different ways, you know.
Yeah.
Don Corleone, Don Corleone, Don Corleone, you know.
So how do you say
that
it?
works.
Yeah?
Don Corleone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I always like to start with some background on everybody I speak to. I'd like to know where you were born and what life was like for you growing up.
Yeah, basically I was born in St. Elizabeth, raised up in St. Elizabeth, and just love music from a young age. Started to play sound system from 12, 13. Had my own sound system from then, and just basically just having fun, you know, growing up as I would go in school, you know, basics.
Okay. So what about your start in the music business? When did you first, discover you could produce like this?
Boy, I would have to say it was like in 2001. I had a dub studio in Mona. I usually record a lot of dubs, a lot of people. So.
Okay.
I was friends with Baby G, that's the son of Jamis.
Mm-hmm.
So like one day he knew that I knew Scissor. Scissor was my virgin, but he didn't know him. So he had a rhythm named Mexican. Him asked me if I could get Scissor on it for him. So I said, yeah man, give me it. I'm just Scissor and say, yo, married him, just put it on it. And he just put it on it, and then later on I told Scissor, it was Baby G, I got it for him. From that, Baby G look at me and say, oh, I produce a first time producer. I said, produce, nah man, I dub plate more than sound thing, you know. So from there it really gave my interest to do it.
Okay. What kind of equipment were you using back then?
When I recorded my first rhythm, I used a Sony Vaio 400 megahertz, and that was about it. And I had a Yamaha 001V board. And that was it.
So you've come a long way from the start back then to the studio we see today.
Yeah man, a long way, you know. Yeah, man.
So what was the first rhythm that that was released under the label Don Corleon?
The first rhythm was Madance rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rhythm that brought Vibes Cartel to the world.
I remember actually my first trip to Jamaica was 10 years ago, 2002, and that rhythm was one we heard all over the place. So
Yeah, man.
when did it first drop? Was 2002?
Yeah, it was 2002. You know, I gave DJ Wayne from Area FM,
Mm-hmm.
and from that Friday evening when him started playing, you know, it was just a big buzz after that.
Right. So I mean, how did your career take off from then?
Well, it put it this way. The hardest thing in producing is like building relationships with the artists, get to know the artists to get them to voice and the rhythm and stuff, and in which I built a relationship with them over the years doing dub plates, playing sound systems. I usually do dub plates for DJ Khaled, Tony Mataran, Stone Love, you name a sound on this earth I've done dub plate for. So that's basically where I started my roots and, you know, getting to know everybody and basically.
Okay. I guess it was 2004 that the Drop Leaf came out. For me, as a reggae DJ selector, it seems like that rhythm was hugely important in the development of reggae music out of Jamaica in the last 10 years. Since then, there's so many drop leaf clones, it almost became a sort of sub-genre of music. We think that's some truth in that?
Yeah, I would say that, yes, because One Drop was always here, you know, it's just who really love it and the type of crowd that was coming up was listening to that One Drop. Obviously, like, the type of crowd at that time that was listening to my music, based on Madance, Good to Go and those things, were like younger people. So, me basically playing sound system, playing all these wicked One Drop, Bobby Digital, Fatis, Jammies, Studio One, John Jala, the whole of those things, and knowing all these things, I always said, yo, I need to do something like this, you know, I need to have a One Drop rhythm. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it good, you understand? So, just the mere fact that me being the producer of that time and coming with a One Drop rhythm, you know, in which we put our feel to it, a little different, more R&B-ish little bit, and it does catch a younger crowd too, so that was a real stepping point in where a lot of young youth want the reggae, they want to produce One Drop rhythm too. You know, it really strengthened reggae music back then, but it was always here.
Right. You mentioned the R&B influence on that, and that's one thing. You know, that's I actually there was some backlash from some circles about the R&B influence on the music.
Yeah, man. The backlash. Every song got #1, so that was the backlash. Yeah.
If that's kind of backlash you're getting,
you have to do things different. Yeah. Obviously, if I'm going to do something, I bring my flavor to it.
True.
Obviously, if you hear Bobby Digital produce a Sizzler now, you're going to know it's Bobby produce it because him have a sound, him have him signature. You understand?
Yep.
So everybody have to let them mark. Everybody, put it this way, you have people that will like it, people will not, but I make music what makes me happy first, so that's what's important.
Yeah. In the last couple of years, you've had some huge One Drop rhythms, major and minor. Battery done? I mean,
I have no idea
must
why
be full.
I did that. It
Must be
just,
full.
yes, try again, but that was really weird.
What's this in?
No, yeah.
Memory card full?
Yeah, that's why I was.
Alright, we'll concentrate on the audio. That's the main thing. So in recent years, you've had some huge hits with One Drop rhythms, major and minor, bus all over the world, and the Message rhythm in Melbourne that played at almost every dance for most of the year.
Much respect to support it, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, people love it. I think in this day and age, people are sort of starving for roots and culture One Drop rhythms. Jamaica really has slowed down the production of that kind of music in recent years, and I mean, really, it seems like Don Corleon, Jukebox, and Penthouse are probably the only labels still producing new roots rhythms now. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
I wouldn't say that. You have other people that do One Drop rhythms too, but put it this way, that's the problem. It's not are going to put out a one drop rhythm, I'm going to make a one drop rhythm. You have to put good songs on these rhythms. If you don't put good songs, it's not going to work. You have to put songs that can relate to all over the world. It is not, a genre base where it's just Jamaicans going to understand it in a sense. So, it's a few people that does reggae authentically.
Speaking of international, of course, on the major and minor, you had a huge hit with J Boog.
Yes.
You've also voiced Fiji. It seems like you're working with more international artists. How did you come to be in this? Or how did you actually come to voice Fiji to start with? Is probably and J Boog, is it?
Well, I met J Boog through Morgan Heritage. Actually, they came to Jamaica and sprang them and say they want me to produce a song for this guy and this name. And automatically, I went in the studio, I was listening, and when I heard him sing, I was like, damn. I said, no, this dude can sing. I want to do something with him, and we started to do the track here at my house, and I just produced it well. When I first did it, I wasn't hearing like the clarity in his voice, because obviously, I'm a Jamaican and not hearing his like accent, and I say, yo, this thing want a low voice behind it, and that's where he got that low voice put in behind the track, to make it more clearer to, Jamaicans could really accept it and understand it in a sense that it's not another foreign person doing reggae, or, it sounds authentic, it sounds like a Jamaican person.
So, I mean, that relationship obviously works well both ways. It's helped expose your productions to the world, and it's helped expose him here.
Definitely, one hand wash the other, Yeah, man. Even Fiji taught me a lot from I just met him,
Right.
Yeah, man. He's a very knowledgeable person, very smart, very amazing singer, amazing musician. I have to big him up every time.
Right. Another international artist, a bit closer to Jamaica, but Pressure, of course, comes from the Virgin Islands.
Yes. That's another talent I worked with.
Right.
Out of Jamaica. Actually, I found him. I was in Miami one time. I was in a music store and I bought some stuff, and somebody gave me a CD and said, listen to this guy. And I said, alright, I listened it, and I said, yo, this guy bad. And they said, first song I recorded to was Love and Affection.
Right, which was a big hit here.
Yeah, all over the world. So, Gentleman is another person. Actually, he's one of the first person out of Jamaica I ever worked with.
Okay.
So
has it been a conscious decision or effort on your part to work with international artists? Because it seems
I'm
like you do it more.
I'm not going to limit myself as a producer. As long as somebody sing good music and is vocally talented, I'll work with them. I don't have a problem,
Yep.
Yeah, there's no prejudice in between it, I will work all around. Yeah, from Japan to that market, Pacific to Europe, South America, all over.
So with such a wide perspective on the world and the scene internationally, it could be easy to lose sight of Jamaica, but obviously that's not happening because you're still voicing dancehall rhythms as well that are playing in the streets.
That is the key. A lot of these songs, most of these songs that I've voiced with these international artists have kicked off in Jamaica first. J Boog, Gentleman, everything. That's what really laid the concrete ground and make everybody, because everybody listens Jamaica to what is going to come out. What's the latest one drop? What's the latest? They hear J Boog and they're not thinking, yo, it's from Hawaii. They just say, yo, this song bad. Later on, when they know it's from Hawaii, it's all over, So basically, I'm 100% functioning in Jamaica. This is where everything happens and starts from.
So tell us about the dancehall rhythm. So the latest one on the road is Peeny Wally.
Peeny Wally, yeah. And just had a vibes, just a different. I took up my guitar and playing this riff outside and started to sing something and say, yo, okay, put it down. And just put it down, and I like the groove, and it's a groove not really in dancehall right now, A lot of dancehall rhythms coming out of Jamaica sound one way, and so it's a difference.
Well, speaking of the guitar, obviously, you've got a good rack of guitars here in the studio. When you build a rhythm, how many musicians do you bring in to play different parts? Do you play a lot of the parts yourself?
Most of them, keyboards, guitar, sometimes my bassist play guitars too, but my bass is always Danny Bassey from Firehouse. He plays all of my bass lines. Okay. So he's like an in-house producer here too. So.
Was that him?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has played on millions, from Drop Leaf come right up. Every bass line I have on one drop that he does it. Majority of Sizzler, Black Woman and Child album come right up. Solid as a Rock, the whole of those songs he played, all those bass lines.
Right.
Shabba, Jammies, King Tubbies, he's coming from way back.
Big things.
Yeah.
with getting back to the Peony Wally, of course, there's a Vibes Cartel tune on that one.
Yes.
Sounds like it was voiced many years ago.
Everybody want to know. Yes, it was. Yeah.
So you've worked closely with Cartel from the start till now.
Yeah.
But of course, he's behind bars. So now any music that's coming out from Cartel is recorded earlier.
Yeah. Majority.
Okay. Looking at the state of the industry today, compared to 10 years ago when you started, like, what sort of changes have you seen in that time?
A lot of changes in the terms of just sales, vinyl, that's like a thing of the past. The standard of music, to me, in my opinion, has dropped.
Is that partly because there's so many producers now? I mean, it's like, once upon a time, producing was a serious thing, but now any kid with a computer...
Put it this way, anybody can just do a song now and say they're artists and put out a song and it plays down the road and they think they're big or anything like that. Think about it, if they took the plane to Australia and they spent all their money and when they went on the stage they couldn't sing their song, how would you feel? That's a big... That's why you see certain artists in this game now will excel major, like Taras Riley. He's a phenomenal performer. In my opinion, nothing in the past 3-4 years that come out of Jamaica can nearly go where walking in shoes in performing. So to me, the vocal level of the artist has dropped in Jamaica, to me.
Right. Speaking of sales and the decline of vinyl, it seems like it's getting harder and harder to actually make money selling music now.
Very much. It's very much harder.
So as a producer like yourself, it makes you living from music. Like, how has this affected you? Or how do you actually keep income?
This way, I'm a person, when I came into this, I didn't have money in mind or anything. I'm comfortable, I can take care of myself. I made the right investments throughout the years. So I can just continue doing what I'm doing. I'm still selling records up to this day.
Okay.
Put it this way, you just have to be more smarter. Back in those days, I could just stay in the studio and people come to me and thousands of different type of work doing back then. Now, you have to really more be going out there, assessing markets, knowing what type of music, even the major and minor, that's a big thing, that's a big assessment of how I came up with that project. All of my rhythms were in minor keys. And I know that the Pacific come down to Japan, come right back around. Loves major chords, things that are happy and stuff. So that was one of my big influences to build major rhythm, to target certain territories. So
that's give it to you. That's intelligent. Give me 1 sec, I lost my train of thought. So tired. We were at this dance in Denham Town till 5 in the morning.
Was good?
Yeah, it was wicked.
Yeah.
For us,
It was an experience.
Yeah.
it's like nothing we ever get to see before,
Okay.
Like, we can go to Quad, and that's like a club back in Australia.
Me now, I'm country. I'm gone to the country. Can't take.
Yeah.
That's too much.
I've been to some dances in country before, but
To me, dances in country nicer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I've never
I've
been to a country.
Alright, if you go, alright, put it this way. This is off the record. When you go to any dance, tell me if you hear one drop.
well,
You see,
actually,
if you go country,
Yeah.
it's a whole different world, different artists, different. You'd go to country and say, "Oh my God, what is this song? I never heard it before." And it's the biggest spot down there, like Little Hero, or you
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
That's what we like.
Yeah.
that's the dance I grew up on. That is what I like. When you're going dance, early juggling, play some Sanchez, beat some early warm up, and you go. Now, as a selector, going to dance, you want to play the hottest tune what released today.
Yep.
None of them are selectors. To me.
The dancer, last night in Denham Town, like because I played some tunes there, I had a playlist, and the promoter looked at the playlist and he goes, "No, they don't want to hear any one drop." He looked at the playlist and he's like, "They don't want to hear any bugle, they don't want to hear any DeMarco, they don't want to hear," and they're just like,
How does he know that? He
Well,
doesn't know
yeah.
that.
I'm just showing the mentality. put it this way, when I go on Summer Jam and see 50,000 people singing every one of Protege song word for word, what am I going to think? I'm not going to limit myself to Jamaica, you understand? At the end of the day. At the end of the day, the biggest records out of Jamaica didn't bust in Jamaica. Sean Paul, Give Me the Light wasn't playing out here. Egyptian Hole never played out here ever.
Is that right?
Never till it bust. When it got big in Nicki Minaj, everybody playing Egyptian and I really never played out here. None at all. Serious. If you check the biggest song, Shaggy Wasn't Me, they will never play that out here. Till they hear that he's gone Diamond. Oh my God, they're playing Shaggy every night. That is out there. Jamaicans, they don't really embrace their own stuff.
Getting back, Protege was talking about Vendetta sound, and for a while, if my memory serves, my memory's pretty bad, but I remember 45's coming out on Vendetta label as well.
Yeah, man, we had a couple of rhythms coming out on the sound label too, right then, you know.
So why were you releasing on the different label?
Just wanted to just keep the name in the mix, and you know, this is what started us, this is what carried us to here. So you can't really lose base of where you started from, you know.
So what happened to Vendetta?
I just some dub boxes out there. Just don't have enough time to deal with everything, you know. The only time I get to spin again is like when I go Europe.
Okay.
People beg me like, yo, I wanted to spin. The other day, like the promoter came to me, would you play an hour before the show? I say, no, that's another tour.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of another tour, we're looking at the goals whiteboard for 2012, and I see on there Don Corleon Records Europe tour.
Yes.
So that's you as a separate thing from the tour you've just done with Protege.
I'm going to do a tour coming up soon with me spinning like spinning my sound and dub mixing.
Okay.
Actually, this shouldn't even be I shouldn't even say this yet, but maybe they have a clash with Mad Professor and King Jammys at Garance Festival in France this year. Showdown. So the winner of that, I'm going to take them on in the next Garance. So.
Mad. Speaking of dub music, I know you're one of the few producers in Jamaica that's sort of still dealing with dub. I mean, dub is a genre of music that's huge all over the world, but I almost never hear it play in Jamaica.
Yeah, never. If you ever tell you I talk myself, Protege like influence me, like keep on pushing me. Do that, bro. I'm sorry. I'm going on the internet. How the hell are you going to learn to do this now? I know the basics. It's not, put it this way, everybody think about dub music, the first thing come in their mind, delay. It's not all about that, you know?
Right.
So, went on YouTube, just watch Mad Professor, Scientist, but I really cling to Mad Professor more. So I started to watch him every move. And I said, oh, that's him, group that to do that. And then put a phase on that and just interpret everything and just try it. And amazingly, I did 2 YouTube videos of it. And immediately he linked Protege, Mad Professor, and say, yo, what is Don Corleon? I love this. What did you want to talk to him? And right there. And he's like, say, you know, normally I don't like digital, but yours do some digital sound and I like it. And till he said he wanted to do something with me, a double album together. So that's something in the future. So.
Right. So what else do you have coming up in the future?
Right now I'm just starving the people a little, you know. Just working on a couple things in my studio. I have a lot of rhythms, a lot of different stuff coming out. So just stay tuned. I don't really want to say anything yet, but a lot of different stuff. Sometimes you have to just keep back.
So in closing, is there any other message you'd like to pass on to the people back in Australia?
Well, much love for supporting reggae music and all the reggae artists over the world, you know, and have to be respectful for everybody in Australia who support Don Corleon Records and buys the music and, you know, to support reggae music in Jamaica and a whole, you know, much respect and one love.
All right. Give thanks. It's a pleasure speaking to you on Babylon Burning.
Big up every time. Big up Babylon Burning. Keep it burning.
Mad.
That was really good. Saying about the video.
Yeah, we got to dump all that stuff and back it up.
Yeah.
But never mind. Can I get you to do a couple jingles for the radio?
Man.
Anytime you're ready.
Jesse I.
Yeah, Babylon Burning with Jesse I, PBS FM.
Ready?
Yep.
Yo, this is Don Corleon and you're listening to Babylon Burning with Jesse I on PBS FM. Keep it locked for all the reggae music. Boom. Ready again?
Yep.
Babylon Burning. Our time come, check how we do it. Keep your eyes open, treading in the streets. Yo, this is Don Corleon. This is Don Corleon, and I represent Jesse I on PBS FM. You can spice it up.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
All right.
Don Corleon speaking to me from his home in Cherry Gardens, Jamaica, back in 2012. Listening back 10 years on, I found it interesting that at that point Cartel hadn't been in jail for all that long, and most music coming out by him at the time were old recordings. How quickly that changed. I'd say he's done just as much music in the last 10 years behind bars as he did in the 10 years of freedom prior. I'm pretty sure he never voiced again for Corleon though, once he was incarcerated. Well, that's it for another episode. Big shout out to my Patreon patrons, Armageddon Time, Empress Irie, John from Champion Sound, Tom Tanuki, and Todd Solomon. And big up me chargies, DJ Pablito and Big Ding. More love every time. If you want to support the podcast and you're not in a position to become a patron, then please give it a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. Thanks for tuning in. Eyes every time.